Okay, should I start? Hi. So again, I'm Eyal. I come from Creative Thinking, Israel, Tel Aviv, and I'm here to speak about parenting and education in the 21st century. Or the title of today's session is "The World Has Made Its Move. Now it's our turn." So I want to start with to be a bit philosophical, in your permission. You know, the story collapse. And when I mean the story, the question is, what is the story? The story is the narrative, the illusion, the structure that we all have in order to, bear reality. Because reality is sometimes unbearable. It's too harsh, too demanding, too difficult to digest, to deal with, to cope with. And even before the COVID-19, reality is something really complicated sometimes. So we need an illusion, we need a story, we need some mediators between us and reality. And one of the most popular mediators is TV and media in general. And speaking of TV, just imagine like every given evening, you come back home, you turn on the TV, you watch the news, and you have there the story. Everything is organized and so comfortable and comprehensive. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You even have the forecast, the weatherman. He actually know what's going to be tomorrow morning. We are in control. This is our bedtime story as adults. This is our version of a bedtime story. And suddenly, after COVID-19 came to our lives, all they can tell us over there on screen is they don't know what to say. It's very intimidating, very disturbing. It's like one of your kids is calling you, "Mommy, Daddy, I want my bedtime story." And you go to the room, you enter the room, you sit next to them on the bed, but then you tell them, "Honey, I don't have a bedtime story for you tonight." So this is how shocking it is for us and for our kids. And it's been going on for months and months, and we have to regain our sense of control. And we have to help our kids to regain their sense of control. And when we witness the collapse of the story, we must write a new one. And in different dimensions of our lives, in the personal dimension, relationship and family, which of course is the focus of our session, in the professional aspect, national aspect, global aspect. And this is a great opportunity because we are now in the midst of a worldwide workshop of co-creating the new story. And it's a window of opportunity for us as parents. But, and this is the big but, we are haunted by this concept of being responsible, like the responsible parent. The responsible parent needs to raise a responsible kid, a good boy, a consistent boy, like say consistent. He has to be consistent, has to be reliable, has to be very, very good in what he does, to prepare his homework, to excel in his studies, and to be ready. It's all about readiness. But it's not enough anymore because we can't ignore what's going on. We know already that our kids need to be creative. They need to adjust. They need to cope with uncertainty, to deal with changes, and they need much more than they had in the past. So what we need to do is to update our version of parenting. And this is what I call creative parenting. And we have, as I said, a great opportunity for doing especially that. And the world has changed, and it's time for us to re-examine our basic assumptions. And I give you two little examples. Take screen time as an example. Okay, screen time, which is so intimidating for parents, the dialogue between screen time, technology, and our kids. Okay, so before COVID-19 came, screen time was associated with a waste of time, with ADHD, with detachment, with antisocial, etc. But then COVID-19 happened, and all of a sudden, screen time is associated with learning, with connecting between families, with socializing with friends, find out what's happening. So this is the shift in the paradigm. I give you another example. Let's take the image of happiness. Again, we have to re-examine our basic assumptions. as human beings, as parents, as a family, whatever. So, for example, if you type into Google the word happiness, you see all the images people have, like the most popular images people have in their mind when they visualize happiness, which is usually people jumping in the air, people spreading their arms wide open, or people who perform a much more complicated activity, jumping while spreading their arms wide open, or this pastoral image, jumping like idiot. It reminds me, where's the family? Where's the meaning of life? Where's the career? Where's our job? Where's our friends? Just jumping in the air. Is it that superficial? Or when you type happy family, speaking of family and parenting, that's what you get. I don't know about you. I don't want any connection with these guys. And this is another image. And look at that, the happy family. Now, I look at these people and I wonder, how well do they know each other? Is this kid, as these kids, any one of these kids, do they really know their parents, their ambitions, their fears, their dreams? I'm not sure they do. So let's re-examine our parenting and use this time of opportunity. You know, before COVID-19 came to our lives, we went to work, they went to school, our kids, and at the end of the day, we met at the end of the day just for like chit chat, how was your day? Fine. And that was the whole dialogue. But now we are together in the same space. And this is our opportunity to get to know each other, to really get to know each other. So it's time to rethink, re-strategize, reinvent, re-examine, and reflect upon our parenting. And I want to share with you 3 little insights to try to implement what I've just presented to you. It's all about creative parent who gives the opportunity to any one of his kids to become self-reliant, which means the freedom to find his own way, to manage his own time, to deal with uncertainty. And how should we do that? So there are some quite important questions that should be asked. What is our purpose as parents? What does our child really needs? In parentheses, to be more creative and to adopt and to be more adaptable and to be more flexible. And what is the opportunity we have now, as I mentioned? So the first insight is to remember that your kids are watching you. They're learning by observation. They're learning by watching through observation. They watch us. Okay, it's like this is the time of us to be educators. They absorb every reaction. They internalize our behavior. They are there. We shouldn't forget it. So this is the time to set an example. And this is a great time because they didn't have the clueless idea about our job. They can see us struggling, sometimes frustrated, which is okay. Try to come up with a new idea, try to be creative, resourceful, which is amazing. This is a great lesson for them. So your kids are watching you. Don't you forget it. Now comes the main point. This is the values instead of rules. I've been searching for like many parenting styles throughout in many countries, and I can say that the main point is to differentiate between rules and values. Okay, there are many instructions and values in a given house, in a given home, in a given family. Go to shower, finish your homework, do that. What about your test? Don't eat in the living room. We come tell me how was your day, etc., etc. We barking and yelling, many instructions and rules. We don't give them the opportunity to find their own way. But it's very tiring. It's very exhausting. What we should do is to shift the paradigm from rules to values. And I want to share with you what a value is, because I have a good friend of mine is a rabbi, and he wants his kids to pray in the morning. Now, he's not going to force them to pray, okay? He invites them to pray. Why? Because it's part of his meaning of life. It's part of his passion. He truly believes in it. So it's not a rule, it's a value. It's something that he performs on a daily basis. It's something that he embodies on a daily basis. So from day to day. So this is something totally different. It's not going to be tiring for him to keep telling them to pray, just for example. So I give you another example just to make it more tangible. Okay? In case that one of your kids is running to the main street or stick his finger into the power socket. So have you ever heard any parent calling, like a parenting mentor, saying, my kid is just running into the main road, what should I do? No, there is no hesitation. You shout, you stop him, you know what to do. There is no question about it. And that's the point of a value. Now, what we should do as parents is to choose like 5 values altogether. That's it. 5 values that we truly believe in, that we perform, that we embody on a daily basis. And to invite our kids as their mentors, as their coaches, whatever you like to call it, to do the same, because this is our gift to them, based on our experience and intuition in our lives. And this is not about rules, it's about values. And all the rest is much less important. We have to set an example for them, and this is all about values. For example, in our family, one of the values is to be considerate and be kind. Well, I don't want to sound too self-righteous. It's not like for all the world. But let's say we have 2 kids. Okay, they have to respect each other. As long as they do that, it's okay. But if they're going to offend each other, to hit each other, whatever, my reaction would be very, very dramatic, as if one of them was running to the main street. Because it's like this is cross the line. But I have to choose only 5 values, and this is one of them. For example, you choose your own values, of course. We have this value, like to be a self-directed learner, which is extremely important and essential in the 21st century. Now, to design your own dream school, to be more mindful and to be aware of what it takes for you to concentrate, to learn alone or with other people, etc., in the morning, late at night. And I give my kids some inspiring examples for self-directed learners. For example, this little kid, if you identify him, is Jack Ma, Alibaba's founder. The founder of Alibaba. This is him when he's like 58. This is him when he was 12, and he wanted to learn English. Now, this is an amazing story. Back in the 70s, in his hometown in China, there was no English lesson in school, no English teacher, no English music, but he wanted to learn English. So what he did is to went to this hotel, to the Shangri-La Hotel. It's a very prestigious hotel. And back in the 70s, well, all the foreigner businessmen, when they came to visit town, they stayed in this hotel. And he suggested to the guys in the hotel that he show the businessmen around the city for free of charge, only to be exposed to their English. Now, the amazing story is that he did it for 5 full years, from the age of 12 to the age of 17. Now, he barely finished school, but he was like amazingly consistent in learning English. So basically, what I said to my kids is that he managed to design his own dream school. This is only one example that I think can be inspiring. But by the way, I don't know if you can see, you can see over there, this is my wall of mentors with many people around. And here next to me have some of my friends. This is, for example, Avram Maslow. He's like watching me all the time. So every time I finish like a good book or research about someone, I have one of his picture on the wall, staring at me and inspiring me. And because I think this is part of my way to design my own dream school, and I invite my kids to do the same. So, two insights so far. Your kids are watching you. This is your time to set an example. This is the very first time that we are together, that we are connected, that we really can get to know each other. Okay, so be aware of the fact that they are watching, they're learning by watching, and this is so important. And the second insight is values instead of rules. So define or choose your values, which is a great opportunity, like to go through a self-sharpening process of to get to know yourself and your values. And in this way, it's gonna fill you with energy. You're not going to force and to be any rules and to be exhausted at the end of the day. You're gonna be full with energy. And the third and last insight is this point, that we are all evolving. You know, parents tend to forget that they are not only adults who wish to raise kids. You know, we all want to raise like happy, well-adjusted kids, but this is not the point. The point is that we ourselves have a very far horizon in front of us. We have a lot to do in our lives. Okay, so the best example that we can set for our kids is to be passionate, to find our own passion, to be even obsessive sometimes for like one of the projects in our lives, and to invite our kids to join us, to explore together. It's not about trying to tell them what to do. It's about us and them as a unit that can explore life together. And I think that we have to change our mindset regarding the parenting and being responsible parent, because part of our responsibility, speaking of responsibility, part of our responsibility is to be aware of the fact that the world has changed completely. And now after the COVID-19, we don't need any other proof. And in this unpredictable world, we need to provide our kids with the ability to adjust, to cope with uncertainty, and to be more creative. In order to do that, we need to go through the same process ourselves. It's not about teaching them, it's about exploring together. And I ask you to work with your personal history. You know, you have a lot of information, accumulative intuition. So bring it to the daily experience of your parenting. Use it. This is the time, this is the window of opportunity to do that. And if you have another quarantine or whatever, so remind yourself that this is the time that we can together and get to know each other. So to build a story. And the final point is all about building a new story. As I said in the beginning of this session, we are witnessing the collapse of a story, a collapse of a narrative, a collapse of illusion. We are now trying to, rewrite the new story. The world is safe again if we keep the 2 meters distance. This is one element in the new story. But you have the chance now to recreate or reinvent or re-examine your own story, your tailor-made version story of what it takes for you to be a good parent, to be a good father, to be a good mother. Because you want to be personal. You want your kids to be personal, to be individual, to be self-independent thinkers. So the moment you do that, you go through the same process, they will join you. So I was talking about parenting, but I can talk about, I could have talked about about management. It was more or less the same, values versus rules, and to know myself and to set an example for myself and for the other people around me. And I could have talked about entrepreneurship or whatever. It's all the same idea. So I suggest to you that we try to use this period, this fascinating, intriguing, intimidating, disturbing, amazing period we live in. And last word, the word is is in a sense predictable because it's consistently inconsistent. And the moment we know that the world has become consistently inconsistent, we know what to expect. It's going to change, and it's time for us to change. This is the game, and we should join the game and to invite our kids to join us and to explore together what's going on. And it's going to be fascinating. And I hope I help you a little bit. And so try to enjoy your parenting and try to enjoy this opportunity that we got. Thank you so much.